Tell us a bit about that, if you don't mind, about why you felt it was formative. And because I think a lot of people go through the loss of their parents, and, you know, we've talked about this, like the idea of like sometimes people regret of what they did or didn't say to their parent, or maybe what they expected of their parent. What was it that was so powerful that allowed you to feel that way about that moment? Because
I got a gift that some people don't get, and it was that the doctors told us he had 6 weeks to live, right? So, and then he lived for 4 months, right? So I got a warning. So most people don't get a warning. You just get the call one day, and you just didn't get a chance. And when I found out that he was dying, it just, by the grace of God, was in the middle of the shooting. I was doing a movie called Collateral Beauty, and it was about a guy dealing with the death of his daughter. So I was into the Tibetan book of Living and Dying, and reading all the, was it Elizabeth Kubler, just reading all this stuff about death. So I've been programmed for 6 months, and I had read and studied all these books about death and grief and dying, and then I get the message, and I was like, I sat down with my father, and of course I had all of my traumas and all of my issues and everything with him, but I had also been 6 months of programming of all of the things that you're supposed to do, to prepare yourself for the death of a loved one. And so I sat with him, and we talked about everything. So I said everything that I wanted to say, and we got to those 6 weeks. And when we got to those 6 weeks, we were clear. But then he lived for another 3 months. So what happened was every meeting, every time I saw him, I was flying back to LA, but every time I saw him, was like, oh, thank God.
Yeah.
And then every time we said goodbye, we made sure we said a good, thorough, full goodbye, because we knew at any moment it could actually be the last goodbye, right? But the lesson was, it's always like that. When we say goodbye, we can't know if this is the last time we will ever see. You should never greet someone casually or say goodbye to someone casually. And that lesson came from that experience. Every moment was so rich. Every time we saw each other, it was, and every time we said goodbye, we made sure it was a good, thorough, full goodbye. That's how you're supposed to live every day anyway. Every time you leave your house could be the last time. You're supposed to be in the richness of your hellos and goodbyes and thank yous, and, so I learned that lesson with my father. And then when he passed, it was easy. We were finished, and just the lesson of that kind of presence and that kind of attention and that kind of recognition that tomorrow's not promised, and just getting shaken out of thinking that you're going to have, tomorrow. Anybody who hasn't spoken to their parents or their brother or their cousin that they had a thing with or their ex and they don't talk anymore, call them right now. You just don't think you're going to have a chance to call them to tomorrow or next week. And it's like that opportunity with my father changed every relationship in my life. I've cleaned all of the relationships in my life to no regret. I do not want someone to be gone and I wish I had and wish I could have. And I'm not doing that in my life.
That's beautiful, man. Thank you for sharing that. That's just, hearing you say that, I think there's a lot of people who needed to hear that. and hoping everyone's going to pick up the phone and message. And if that person's not here anymore, still write them a letter.
Right, absolutely.
Right? If they're not here anymore and you didn't get to say all of that, write a letter. Read it out to them. Read it to a picture of them if that's what it takes.
Absolutely.
Like, allow yourself to share and express. Don't hold it in and hold it back, because somehow that energy will still reach that person, and that energy's left you too. So,
absolutely.
You know, even if you can't call someone up today, make sure you still follow the same practice, because it's just not, it's never worth it. It's never worth it.
It's just never worth it.
Never worth it. And I love that idea of valuing each hello and goodbye.
Absolutely.
And not taking it for granted or taking it lightly. You never know whatever's going to happen, right? You just have no idea. And unfortunately, we see it. This is the, there's actually a beautiful, I don't know if we ever talked about this. There's a beautiful piece in the Mahabharata, which is the Gita is a small part of. And one of the students asked the teacher, he said, what's the most amazing thing in the world? Like, what's the most incredible thing in the world? And the teacher responds and says, the most incredible, amazing thing in the world is that we see people leave all around us, but we never think it's going to be us.
I never.
Like, so you see it and you have that moment again and again, and then you lose someone in your life and you think, oh, that could be me, or that could be someone else. And you live like that for a day. And then the complacency sets back in.